like more targeted, or minorities are more targeted, especially with like crimes in general, or if a person of color was to do something wrong, people would deal with it more quickly than if it was a cis white male.
I need you to rehear the statement you just said. If someone committed a crime and they were punished for it, if someone else committed a crime and they were punished slightly less for it, that's a privilege. The reason I said rethink that statement is because both people are committing a crime. Both people did something wrong and both people are being punished.
Gettysburg College in Pennsylvania has recently postponed an event that centered around being tired of cis white men. So I'm at UT campus to ask students what they think about the event. Let's go find out.
Saying like we're tired of straight white men in society is really as like explicit as it sounds. I think it's just contributing to a general idea that like we're tired of straight white men having the power and everything, you know. And it's like we as women of color, as like students at this university, like we're very much capable of certain things, and we don't have the same privileges that are offered to straight white men.
And I've been hearing that from a lot of the ladies that I've been talking to today. Talk to me about what some of those privileges are that, you know, straight white men have that you don't have. Talk to me about that.
I think I don't really know. Have you ever experienced like
What?
a specific?
Then why would you say it? Why did you say it? I think what she's really trying to say is we want the power. We don't really care about the privilege. Like, that's okay. I want the power. I want to be able to run stuff. But if you don't have any examples or, you know, just anything, then why would you make a claim like this?
Like, instance?
I don't know, but I also need to go.
I know, I do
really
need to
sorry.
go. I'm sorry.
You need to go.
Especially people of color, we know the privileges or the advantages certain races have.
Talk to me about some of those privileges that white people have that you guys don't have.
I would just be like, okay, I guess I'll start with I am a black queer person. If I were to just walk amongst the streets, I'm also like women like I look very feminine. If I were to walk across the streets in the dark as a black queer female presenting person, I would not feel safe because I feel like I would be pretty targeted. But if I were,
I'm not gonna lie though. If I was to walk across the street in the dark at night, I wouldn't feel safe either. Like, raise your hand or comment down below if you genuinely feel like just safe walking outside in the middle of the night, all alone in any neighborhood. Like, I don't think anybody feels safe. And if you do, like, if you like really genuinely feel like calmness and just pure safeness and tranquility doing something like that, you are literally built different. Because I don't think I feel safe either. I'm not gonna lie.
we're a white cis man, I don't think I'd be like the type of person someone would come up.
Oh, wait. Maybe I don't feel safe. Maybe I don't feel safe because I'm not a white cis man. According to the video, that's probably why. Like, maybe that privilege I didn't meet it. So that's the reason. That's the reason. I'm just messing around, y'all. That's not the reason. I don't think most humans would feel safe in the middle of the night walking alone. Hey y'all, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe.
To and hate crime, because that's just not what happens.
I'm certainly cognizant of my own privilege because of my own race. This is the color of my skin.
What privileges are those?
Lots of things. I mean, like, I think there are certain assumptions that come with certain people. Like, when they look at a black person or an Indian person, they automatically have this profile in their head, you know, racial profiling, and
What?
that still exists. I mean, we're not going to escape that until human depravity itself goes away.
Talk to me about some of the privileges that.
And one thing I want to touch on that he says racial profiling. But my question is this: when you talk about having, and this is kind of a rebuttal, but it's just a thought that he can consider. If you talk about having white privilege and you use racial profiling as your reasoning to have white privilege, a question that somebody can ask you is if, okay, is your racial profiling as a white man the best it can be compared to every other race? What about in comparison to like Asian men or Asian women or Native American men or Native American women? What makes you think that your racial profiling is perfect in comparison to every other race? Because when you have to talk about having a white privilege, that means you're privileged in comparison to every single race, period. So that means that your profiling that you said you had a profiling is the number one of every other race, right? So do you have proof, or like are you sure that your profiling is like number one? That's my question for you.
White men are awarded that you guys are not awarded.
Definitely, like, I guess just getting away with situations. Like, if I were to, like, I don't know, like, I guess, here you go. I have to think about it. I can't.
It's situations like if I had a problem with like a male teacher and they were a white cis male, there was less of a chance for something to happen to them because of it. Like, I could literally report them for anything, but because of that, if they were like upstanding in the community, sucks to me, basically.
Do you think that it would be the same reaction if it was like a black male teacher?
No.
No. I think this problem would be solved immediately.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And the problem that I have when they make claims like this is that these claims are low-key kind of racist. Because y'all not even basing these claims off of anything real. You're kind of just... You're kind of just making this up in the moment. And I'm not trying to insult their intelligence or nothing. But you literally just made this up. Your example was a white male professor who is upstanding in his community. So what does that mean? That he's probably like a high-ranked professor at a university, and you said something about this professor, he probably has tenure. It will be harder to get him off. So you think black professors just don't have tenure at universities? Like, that's just a foreign concept. And even if you don't think black professors have tenure, you don't think Asian professors have tenure, you don't think Latino professors have tenure, Native American professors, Indian professors, like, you just assume that like, when y'all talk about white privilege, y'all only bring up black people. Like, there's other races, and you don't even bring them up with facts. Like, you just make a broad generalization that's kind of racist to say, if I'm being honest. Like, we can get tenure at universities.
I mean, I feel like POC people are like more targeted, or minorities are more targeted, especially with like crimes in general, or if a person of color was to do something wrong, people would deal with it more quickly than if it was a cis white male.
So, I need you to rehear the statement you just said. If someone committed a crime and they were punished for it, but someone else committed a crime and they were punished slightly less for it, that's a privilege. The reason I said rethink that statement is because both people are committing a crime. Both people did something wrong, and both people are being punished. I don't know the validity of her statement, but using people who did crime or whatever to justify your thoughts is kind of wild. I thought you would like use like day-to-day citizens, but...
So you mentioned straight white men having more privileges. Can you talk to me about what some of those privileges are?
Yeah, so generally, there's not really ever a sense of like discrepancy whenever someone is trying to, let's say for instance, there is a man who commits a crime and he's, a regular looking white guy. Police are, generally more likely to not have adverse reactions to them. Say if they're like having any sudden movements or sharp movements, they'll generally be more lenient with them compared to if it was like a black or brown person.
Where do you get that analysis from?
Like statistics, crime statistics, rates of arrest compared to comparing white people to like black and brown people or minorities in general.
What would you say to people who say like the black community commits the majority of the crime, that's why they're more likely to be arrested? What would you say to that point?
I would say that there are certain factors of society that have contributed to black and brown people being more impoverished, and crime is sort of the way that a lot of people see an escape from this poverty. You know, stealing is a crime, but say you're a hungry man and you go into a
I don't even. This is just kind of funny. Like, and I think these students. So, you're really justifying my entire race's crime. Like, you're really sitting here, like, justifying it. Like, justifying their reasonings for doing it. You think, and this doesn't really make much sense to me. You really think stealing is the best way to get money? Like, let's talk about it. Let's say you stick somebody up or something. Let's say in your example, oh, they don't have the opportunity to get paid. You take somebody's wallet. For one, most people don't even carry that much cash anymore. You would make more money and have less risk if you just went to McDonald's and filled out a job application. You would literally make more money. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny. You would literally get paid more in the day-to-day from going to McDonald's and working an 8-hour shift rather than robbing people for 8 hours and they just cancel their cards the second that you take their wallets. And then they call the cops and you go to jail. And another thing is, all crimes aren't money related in that essence. Like stealing like cars or phones, they're not all money related. There's murder, that's a crime too. So how does that play into your like ideal in a way?
Grocery store and you steal some food for you or your family, is that really a crime, or are you just trying to survive at that point, you know?
Well, y'all, it was nice to see the racism levels.
Okay, I don't really know. Stealing out of grocery. Okay. Anyways. Okay. It's LFR Jojo. If you have any suggestions, comment down below. If you have anything for me, comment down below. This video was kind of interesting. Yeah, I'll see you on next.